Hello and welcome back to the Bitter BM podcast. I'm Felicia, your Bitter BM, and here I speak about all the things that made me bitter but transformed me into the person I am today. So interestingly enough, this week I had to block someone, and then I was scrolling YouTube and came across this story in my recommendations. I want y'all to take a listen.
And it was nothing but lies.
North Carolina TikToker Brene Kennard ordered to pay $1.75 million after a jury found her liable for having an affair with her manager, Tim Montague, characterized under North Carolina law as criminal conversation and alienation of affection. Montague's ex-wife, Akira, suing Kennard for her deliberate interference in the marriage, including wrongful and malicious acts.
What's up, y'all?
Saying in a court filing, Kennard engaged in behavior designed to seduce him, like wearing very short skirts and twirling her hair in a flirtatious manner. The plaintiff's attorneys presented evidence, including sexual videos and texts, a video of Kennard dancing in the couple's home, and another video of her saying she cannot wait to be Mrs. Montague. They argued the TikToker, who had millions of followers, flaunted their relationship on social media.
Hi, guys.
That says that my client was telling the truth.
Akira Montague saying as a result of Kennard's actions, she has suffered humiliation, mental and emotional anguish, and injury to her health, adding their actions deprived their two young children of a two-parent household.
She has received justice from losing her husband and the father of her children.
But Kennard argues she had Montague's consent.
She gave her consent. She said it was okay because she knew her marriage was over with and it was done.
Kennard now calling herself Mrs. Montague, saying the couple are married, though NBC News couldn't find any legal documentation supporting that claim. She tells NBC News in a statement, the verdict wasn't fair at all. I fought the lies for 8 days and the jury sought sympathy, not facts, adding it's not over until God says it's over. Tim Montague adding about the TikToker, my wife had no fair shot, especially when defending herself against an entire team of attorneys. As for that $1.75 million payday,
I don't know, but she'll probably never see it.
So as you can hear, a mistress was taken to court because she broke up a marriage. So before I even get into how I feel about this story, let me tell you about what happened to me this week. I ended up having to block someone that I know is married because they would not stop their advances toward me, and I hate repeating myself. So I'll give you the backstory. About 8 years ago, I met someone in my neighborhood in the grocery store. Like, how innocent is that? And we exchanged numbers and we began to talk. After talking, we decided that we wanted to date. I considered him my boyfriend. Now, this was in my early 20s, I think late 20s, early 30s, I should say. And we ended up being in a relationship for a year and a half, approximately 18 months exactly. And then one day I was at the gym and I got a phone call from a number. I think it was a private number. From a private number, and I usually don't answer private numbers. I answered, and at the end of the line was his wife. This woman was asking me who I was, how she found my number, or how she got my information. I think was at the time I was in college, and I asked him to pay for, I think, 2 of my courses for Christmas, and he did it. She found the receipt. I don't know if the receipt had my number on it, or shoot, he could have given her my number. I don't know. But from that, she called me. She reached out and she let me know he was married. And when that happened, my mind just discombobulated. I left the gym within 5 seconds. I went home. I messaged my friend. I was like, oh my God, this guy's wife just called me to let me know he's married. And she was like, OMG. I think within the following days, she called me back and accused me of openly knowing her husband was married and being in a relationship with him. I said, hold up. I said, you are not. And I put her in her place, because ain't no way you're going to tell me I'm the Jezebel that potentially caused strife in your marriage. I said, listen, your husband doesn't wear a wedding ring. And she goes, oh, he probably takes it off. Never in the entire time of me speaking to this man did he ever have a wedding band on. Okay? He was around my friends, came to a friend's birthday bash with one of his own friends, and there were about 30, 40 people in there. Okay? So I said, no, you're not going to do this to me. Your husband didn't tell me he was married, and I've never seen a ring. After that, he still wanted to continue the relationship. I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. We didn't speak for months, and then I feel like things rekindled. I'm like, let me see. Let me see if I could actually do this. If I could go against my values and be with someone else's husband in hopes of having my own relationship with them one day. I said, nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. It was eating me alive. And at the time, my daughters were a lot younger. And I said, what kind of example are you being for your own kids? If it gets to a point in their future where they are in the same predicament, you really have no say. You really have no advice to give them, because this is the example that you would have provided for them when it happened to you. So I said, no, I can't do it. I can't risk my kids looking at me sideways and judging me for one of the most terrible decisions I think I could have made at the time. So everything ended and we didn't speak for years. And then one day I got an email. I don't remember him having my email, but he had it. He got my email. He messaged me. He's like, how are you doing? Da, 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 da. I was like, I'm doing good. I think we spoke over email for a little bit. And then I was like, okay, you can have my number. And then over the past maybe 2 to 3 years, like he's messaged me periodically, like every few months, like, hey, how's it going? How are the kids? Short conversations like that. I feel like we've had maybe a few conversations as well over the phone. Same type of conversation. But throughout some of those conversations, I found that he was still like trying to hit on me, still trying to make little slight comments, and I'd have to no, I'm not interested. So what happened this week was he messaged me to ask me how my family was doing, because I'm from the Caribbean and a hurricane happened recently. We're both from the Caribbean, and he was just asking how my family was, if everything was okay. I said yes. And I asked him the same about his family. He said everything was fine. I left it at that. I did not initiate any more conversations, because the last time that we actually spoke, he didn't respond to my last message, and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But anywho, then he goes on to say, would I like to go to the Cardi B concert with him? And I asked him, what do you know about Cardi B? Because this is a married church-going man. So what are you doing listening to Cardi B? I don't know. Maybe he's not a Christian anymore. I don't know. So he's like, he likes her music. I said, oh, okay. Well, I already have my Cardi B tickets for the city that I live in, and I'm going to go with my friend, but I'll see you down there, and maybe you could buy me a drink. Now, when I suggested for him to buy me a drink, I didn't mean like we leave the complex or stadium where the concert was going to be to go have drinks at a club or something. They sell drinks on the premises, so that is what I meant. After that, he suggested that, hey, maybe there's the possibility that I'll come home with him. I said, what? And that's when he irked me. He rubbed me the wrong way for the final time. And I said, listen, you know what? I'll insert the text here. Take a look at what I said. After I sent the text, I blocked him right away because this was on WhatsApp. That was that. I'm like, sir, like you played me how many years ago? And time does not make the heart grow fonder in every single situation. And you tried to convince me to be your mistress, because from what I remember at the time, he literally told me he would give me anything I wanted, okay? If I stayed. He said, what do you want? I'll give you anything that you want. And I said, I cannot sacrifice my youth and all the great possibilities that life has in store for me to be in this terrible boo-boo relationship with you that I know is not going to end anywhere. It's not going anywhere. I'd be wasting my time. And that's time I will not be able to get back. So when this story came across my recommendations, I was like, that's very interesting. First of all, I just want to say that to the wife, your husband knowingly had an affair with his mistress. She did not convince him to leave you. He made the conscious decision to have this relationship with this woman. He decided that he wanted to leave the relationship. He decided that he wanted to take himself away from your children. It just so happens that you're in a state where you could actually sue over that. But as the mistress said, you ain't gonna see a dime. And I believe her 100%. And I found that to be very funny because I wouldn't pay her nothing either. I wouldn't pay her nothing either because it's not my fault your husband cheated and then decided that he wanted to stay over here. If your marriage was really coming to an end and you gave her permission to have these public displays with your husband on the internet, as she says, I don't know if that's true, but I mean, that's on you. Why are you getting mad now that he actually decided to stay over there? What I found interesting is the fact that the mistress said, the wife said it was okay. Now, if you ask me, that sounds like a setup. It sounds like she already knew the law where she lived. You're on TikTok making all this money, or presumably making all this money. And she's like, you know what, girl? Go ahead. Do you, girl. It's okay. And lo and behold, she's taking you to court thinking you were going to be an easy lick. And don't put it past the husband either, because some of these wives are 100% okay with their husband going outside to have relationships if it could financially benefit the family. Now, y'all don't hear me though. A lot of husbands do that and the wives are 100% okay with it. Y'all know them little jokes that y'all be seeing on the internet where the side man or the mistress calls and the wife is upset until she finds out that everything in her house was bought with the side piece's money. It's true. It happens in real life. I found out that someone I knew, the man that was in their life for all these years, was married. How I found out? That sucker had the audacity to call the local radio station that I just happened to be listening to at the time. He called the local radio station and said, I want to wish my wife so-and-so a Merry Christmas and my friend, which was the person that I knew, so-and-so a Merry Christmas. I heard the word wife and I recognized his voice because he has a very distinctive voice. I heard the word wife and heard the person whose name I knew. And I said, excuse me. I called the person who I knew. I called him up right away. And I said, is such and such married? They said, yes. When I look back at it, it was so disappointing to find this out about this person. And I'm hoping the fact that I found out when I did played a role in the fact that the relationship ended, because I was like, ain't no way. When I look back at it, this person spent 15 years of their life with this person. I don't know if they wanted marriage out of it or what he was telling her or if she was okay with it. But to me, why would you lower yourself to that level? You know, it's not the ideal situation to put yourself in as a woman, to be in a long-term relationship as a mistress with a married man. You don't know what type of person the wife is. I've come across many videos where the wife has taken matters into her own hands, has decided to gather up her friends or family or just done it alone and whoop the mistresses behind. In certain cases, she has pow-powed, sent them to the upper room. Why would you want to put yourself through that? I'm only speaking for myself, but the advice I do want to give to the young ladies coming up, when these married men approach you and try to, you know, offer you these long-term relationships where they're either paying some of your bills or doing this, doing that, it's not going to lead anywhere. Trust and believe. And like they say, you lose them how you get them. Don't think that you're going to be in a relationship with a married man who 10 years down the road still cannot leave his wife. And then when he does leave his wife, he's going to be committed to you. He's going to be as committed to you as he was committed to the first wife. Always keep that in mind. So let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think that the wife saw the TikTok mistress as a possible lick, like I suggested, and said, do you, boo? Or do you think that she's genuinely upset at the fact that her home is broken and she lost her husband? Do you think it's right that the wife is dissolving the husband of what seems all accountability in this situation and putting the blame solely onto the mistress? Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. I think I actually like doing these social commentary videos. Obviously, I'm mostly going to do videos that relate back to my own life experience. Let me know what y'all think about my opinion in the videos, if there's anything I could do better. I'm new to the YouTube streets, especially when it comes to doing social commentary. But once again, I'd like to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all next time. Ciao.